you are always need to look at on the standards. Okay, kalau ada standards, then you do not have to explain on the IAS 8. That's why I think James do not focus on this one. Okay, so that's why they kata statement here. You can see that when there is a standard or when there is an interpretation. Okay, for example, when you acquire machine, then you can apply IAS 16. Kalau you acquire investment property, then you can apply IAS 40. Okay. However, when there is no specific standard or interpretation dealing with the transaction or item, then management needs to use judgment and develop its own policy. So again, okay, when there is no standard, maksudnya kita dah belajar for 16, and so on. If let's say there is no such things on the standards, tapi kita ada transaction, so therefore the management they will use the judgment and they will develop dia punya own policy. So this own policy ni lah yang dia akan explain on the notes number 1 dalam dia punya significant accounting policy dalam notes to the accounts. And the policy needs to provide as reliable and relevant information as possible. So that's why they have to disclose it in the notes to the accounts for IAS 8. Okay, so kalau notes to the accounts, so they will explain. Remember, characteristic of accounting information, it must be reliable and it also must be relevant. Okay. Then how should you develop your accounting policy then? Okay, first you have to look at the IFRS dealing with the similar or related issues. For example, there may be IAS 16 or 40. I hope that by now you should understand what the difference between IAS 16 and IAS 40. We have prepared questions ni, the exercises, okay, banyak sangat on the exercises of this thing. So you have to look at on the issue here, and then after that you second you apply concept from the conceptual framework for financial reporting. So remember, first of all, macam yang kita pernah buat before this, you are to define what is asset, and then whether it is non-current asset ataupun dia current asset, and then it is tangible or intangible, and then after that you need to look at on the definition of it under conceptual framework. So this is what they mentioned about accounting policy then. Now, when and how to change accounting policy? When can you change the accounting policy? Only at 2 circumstances. When it is required by another IFRS, meaning the standard wants you to change it. This will be the case when new IFRS is issued and therefore have to apply it mandatorily. So this is, let's say there is a changes to the IFRS. Macam what Comac will do with you next week. It is on the leasing, yeah. Yang I mentioned dulu, leasing is a sewa pajak. Selalunya you beli asset, but this time you tak beli asset tu, tapi you sewa daripada orang lain. And then at the end of the day, the asset is not belongs to you, to your company, tapi you kena pulangkan balik. So Comac will mention it to you about that things, okay, about that topic. And then one more regarding about that things, what happened next is you are to, there is a changes to that standard, okay. Dulu standard tu, I tak ingat nama dia berapa, but now the standard change to IFRS 16. So apply to the IFRS 16 next week you akan belajar. So the policy changes lah if the company ada leasing. Okay. Okay, this is circumstances number 1. The number 2, situation number 2, when new accounting policy provides better, more reliable and relevant information. So these are the 2 keywords that is very important when you want to prepare your financial statement. This is what we call as characteristic of accounting information. It must be reliable and it must be relevant. Okay, in this case, apply new accounting policy voluntarily. So if let's say in the company's judgment, the management judgment, they said that the information or the policy is reliable and relevant, then they have to change it to new accounting policy. Okay, voluntarily. Yang atas ni memang mandatorily because there is a changes to the standard. An example, changes to the leasing tadi I bagi tahu. So how to change the accounting policy? If there is a need to apply, there is a need apply to new FRS and the FRS contains some transitional guidance, then follow the rules in that transition provisions. Like for example, leasing I mentioned tadi. New IFRS will provide guidance to it. However, if there's no transitional guidance or the accounting policy is changed voluntarily, this is the second situation here. What happened? Then apply it retrospectively. Okay, meaning there are some exception to it. Okay, apa maksud retrospectively? Okay, it means going back to the previous reporting periods and restating every single component of equity as if the new policy had always been in place. When you have to do some kind of comparative figure then. Okay? That is what they mean by retrospectively. Okay, itu about accounting policy. Any question to it, class? Any question? Any question, class?
No, madam.
Okay. On the accounting estimate is not defined by IAS 8 directly, but just indirectly via changes in accounting estimates. When there is changes to the accounting estimate, changes either some amount of asset or a liability or pattern of its consumption in both current and future reporting periods. Okay, meaning in example, changes to the estimated useful life. Meaning there is some kind of changes to the asset. If changes result from some new information or new trend or development, then there are changes in accounting estimates. An example, there is a changes to the research and development cost. So it is something to do with the standard to the R&D ataupun to the tangible asset, IAS 37. And then IAS 38 kan, 38. If these changes result from some error, such as incorrect calculation or wrong application of accounting policies, then they are not changes in accounting estimates, okay? But errors, and they must be accounted for as for errors. So kalau sometimes dia tersalah kan, meaning human error to the accounts, okay, it is not the changes in accounting estimates, but what we will do, we will classify it as error. Okay, error lah, accidentally error lah, human error. So it is not error in the estimate or whatever. It is not changes in accounting estimate, but then it is error. We will go with the error later. Okay. So typical examples of changes in accounting estimates are bad debts provision. Okay, there is changes to the bad debt provision. Last time it is 10%, maybe this time it is 5% only. Okay, there is changes to the depreciation rates. Okay, the percentage or the useful life of your asset. Okay, or maybe there is changes to the provision for warranty repairs. So this is under IAS 37. Okay, yang you all buat provision tu. Okay, provision, contingent liabilities and so on. So how to account when you have changes in accounting estimate? Unlike accounting for change in accounting policy, there is a need to change accounting estimate prospectively. Either you have to change it in the current reporting period. Okay, this is what you have, you prepared before this with your adjustment. Okay, in form of so-called catch-up adjustment in both the current and future reporting reports. Okay, future reporting periods, meaning you have to prepare the changes affect the current year and the year after that. Okay, so if the change affects both, for example, change in useful life affect depreciation charges in both the current and the future reporting periods. So it is different from accounting policy tadi. Kalau you tengok accounting policy ni, you can see that when there is a changes and it is voluntarily, then you have to use a retrospectively, meaning you have to go to the previous reporting period and then restate again the component of the equity one by one, because there is changes to the accounting policy. But for the accounting estimate, okay, the changes will affect current year and also the year after the current year, okay, in the future, it means, okay. So do not touch financial statement in the previous reporting periods. Adjust calculation in the current and future reporting periods only. So it is prospectively means do not restate comparatives and equity, meaning you are not to calculate again all their previous year punya amount. Okay. So the difference between accounting policy and accounting estimate, sometimes it's very difficult to assess whether it is an accounting policy or an accounting estimate. So how to differentiate it? Okay, here are the things. While accounting policy is a principle or rule or a measurement basis, some other historical or fair value accounting, accounting estimate pula is the amount determined based on selected basis or some pattern of future consumption of the asset. For example, kan, choice fair value ataupun historical cost is a choice in accounting policy. So your company nak guna apa? Fair value or historical cost. This is the measurement basis. But updating some provisions based on fair value change is a change in accounting estimate. So let's say you want to change the depreciation rate. Before this, it is 20%. Now you want to change it to 10%. Then that is the change in accounting estimate. Can you differentiate it now, class? Can you differentiate between that two?
Yes, madam.
Okay, good. So these are the things, okay. What is it for accounting policy? It is principles or measurement basis. But for the accounting estimate, it is the amounts or the patterns. So example, change from historical cost to fair value. So ini you all tak belajar lah, tapi this is the incurred credit loss and so on. Ataupun changes of the provision amount based on a fair value. Okay, and changes in estimated percentage of loss allowance. So when there is a changes in accounting policies, you have to use retrospectively, meaning you have to go back to the previous period. But when there is a changes in the accounting estimates, you will use prospectively a kind of way and share yes of your accounting there. Okay, so finish off with the accounting estimates and accounting policy. Any question to it? Any question? Any question?
No, madam.
Okay. Now, errors, okay? Prior period errors are some omissions or misstatements in the financial statement as a result of ignoring, meaning sengaja lah, or misusing the information that was available or could be reasonably obtained when preparing this financial statement. So these are the things of explanation on the errors. It does not really matter why the error happened, whether it was intentional, meaning there is a fraud, or unintentional, meaning tak sengaja lah there is a need to correct if it is material. So when there is error, okay, to your financial statement, okay, you need to correct the error, okay, but you don't mind, well, you tak nak tahu why is it happened, but sama ada dia happen because of fraud ataupun otherwise ataupun human error only, but you have to correct the error. But when you want to correct the error, you have to look at on the materiality of the error. Okay, you have to look at on the materiality of the error. So the question here is the error material. Okay, The concept of materiality is explained in IAS 1, kita pernah buat dulu. But to simplify, anything that can affect the decision of users of financial statement is material. So this one, it is something to do with the materiality concept yang I pernah explain about paperclip. Okay? And also the amount of your asset, the machine lah kata. Katalah sekarang, you tersalah key in. Okay, you tersalah record. You record purchase of instead of 100 berapa I nak letak purchase stationery, you terletak RM10, missing 10. So kalau you tengok RM90 lah yang hilang. Ini company besar, I'm talking about company yang besar. Katalah sekarang ni you beli machine, the asset, and then the cost of the machine, it is actually 100,000. Okay, but then okay, you record 10,000, missing 1,000. It is something to do that dalam berapa ribu? 90,000 kan? Hilang, right? So it is very material. So kalau RM90 tadi yang you missing, it does not affect the decision making of the user. Okay, ini saya bagi contoh saja. But the 90,000 yang you tersalah record just now, okay, it is material, okay, to the user. Because the company lost 90,000 because of error, record keeping error tu salah. Okay, so that's why when we want to explain about error, we need to look at the materiality of the error. Okay, so significant lah, okay. So do not forget that something can be material not only because of its size, but also due to its nature. For example, bonuses paid to management are always significant, whether they amounted to few dollars or to millions. So bonus is actually what do you call it? The affect decision making of the user. User tu salah satu contohnya investor lah, macam you all buat you punya assignment. Kalau company tu walaupun dia bayar 1 sen saja bonus kepada management, user can always ataupun investor can always question kenapa bagi bonus to the management tapi sebenarnya kita dalam keadaan COVID, our sales is not good, contohnya. Okay, so it may be fraud because of that. Okay, intentional. Okay, it may be fraud. Now, back to errors. If the error is not material, yang I cerita pasal paperclip tadi, then correct it in the current reporting period. Remember, if the error is not material, then the financial statement still might be reliable and relevant. Okay, the RM90 saja, but you have to correct it. But the thing is, you have to check it. You kena betulkan to make it your financial statement reliable and relevant. If the error is material, then correct it retrospectively, meaning on the previous period pun you kena correct by going back and restating figures in the previous periods. Do you understand what I'm saying here, class? Do you understand?
Yes,
You
madam.
understand, class? Yes, madam. Okay. Kenapa? Ada. Habis dah? Sampai situ je kah error? Up to that. Okay, up to that. So that will be what you call as error. Okay? Okay, class?
Okay, madam.
Any question for now? Okay, any question for now? Do you want to ask me any question? For now? Any
Madam,
question for now? If you want. Yes.
remind me again, like the retrospectively is going back to previous accounting period, right?
Dia kena adjust balik lah. Adjust balik all the amount.
And then prospectively is
That's what you did in your IAS 1 ataupun dalam topik preparation of financial statement hari tu.
Okay.
Kan kita buat current year saja. We are not looking at the previous year. Kalau you go back to the financial statement punya topik lah. Okay?
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay. Yang lain? You have any question on it?
No, madam.
Okay. So if no questions, then I would like to remind you again, class rep, later we will go back with that things. You have a revision day with me on the 10th of April on Saturday 8 to 12 o'clock. Okay? So kita buat 4 hours direct. That one is including lecture and tutorial. And then you have a replacement class with me for section 3 and 4 on the 26th of March, Friday, 3 to 5 o'clock. And on the tutorial on the 30th March, 9 to 10 for section 4. And then on the 30th March also for section 3, it is on 11 to 12. Okay? Okay, class?
Okay, madam.
Okay. So that's it for now. And then thank you. I will see you again next week. And next week, Comet will take over your lecture. I will have your tutorial with me. Okay, class?
Okay, madam.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so thank
So
you.
much, madam.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you.
Madam. Okay, madam.